Look at the headlines today, and the global economic anxiety is obvious. Tariffs are rising, artificial intelligence is threatening middle-class jobs, and oil prices swing based on regional conflicts. To understand where this is heading, you have to look at how the largest pools of capital are positioned. Larry Fink runs BlackRock, overseeing more than $10 trillion. When he maps out where the global economy is going, the markets adjust. His assessment of our current panic is blunt. We are trying to navigate a 21st century macroeconomic shift using an obsolete map. The basic rules that governed the past 40 years have reached their limit. Sticking to those old models creates severe strategic blind spots and leaves trillions in potential returns on the table. Understanding the logic behind these trillions of dollars provides a practical map for the transition currently underway. Let's start with global trade. The prevailing fear is that the return of tariffs signals the collapse of the international trade system. To see why that is wrong, we have to look at how that system was built. The post-war architecture was deliberately asymmetric. It gave war-torn economies like Germany, Japan, and South Korea generous access to U.S. markets so they could rebuild their industrial bases quickly. Revisiting those terms today, now that those nations are wealthy powerhouses, is a structural adaptation. We see a similar rigid thinking in the energy sector. Public debate usually demands a choice between fossil fuels and renewable energy. This logic model maps out a very different reality. We are heading toward a stark binary. If geopolitical tensions cool and producers like Iran return to the market, oil could fall to around $40 a barrel, providing the energy surplus needed for broad economic growth. But if sustained conflict keeps those prices above $150, the cascading costs will force a severe recession. A massive variable dictating which path we take is Iran. Reintegrating them into international markets, relieving that intense supply pressure, remains one of the most vital economic levers available right now. Because rising energy costs function as a regressive tax, punishing the poorest households the most, cheap and reliable power is the foundation of social equity. That makes an all-of-the-above energy strategy the only pragmatic path forward. Then there is the persistent anxiety about financial markets. With stress building in private credit, many analysts are drawing direct comparisons to the banking collapse of 2008. But the mechanics of the stress are different. The crisis 15 years ago was driven by toxic leverage, hidden deep within the regulated banking system. Today's stress exists within a $2 trillion private credit market, where the terms are explicitly detailed in investor contracts. The risk is disclosed, not concealed. That same tendency to apply old crises to new markets is happening with artificial intelligence. Critics point to high valuations and dismiss it as a speculative software bubble. They are missing the physical reality of what AI requires. A single 1 gigawatt data center now costs upwards of $50 billion to build. The demand for raw power and computing infrastructure is currently outpacing what the global economy can physically supply. In an infrastructure race of this scale, declining to invest constitutes an irreversible strategic surrender. This chart shows the divergence of the American economy since 1989. This sharp upper line represents the explosive growth of stock market returns, while the flat lower line tracks median wages. It illustrates exactly how capitalism has failed to work for everyone. For decades, society responded to this gap by pushing young people toward university degrees, assuming white-collar work offered the ultimate economic protection. AI is dismantling that assumption. Analysis that previously required entire teams of knowledge workers can now be generated in seconds. Simultaneously, building those $50 billion data centers requires millions of skilled tradesmen. Electricians, plumbers, and welders are commanding higher wages to construct the physical backbone of this new economy. And as global birth rates drop and workforces shrink, governments are realizing that automating labor isn't a threat. In an aging demographic, rapid AI automation is the productivity tool nations need just to maintain their economic output. Fixing the inequality gap requires two distinct shifts. We have to expand who gets to own compounding capital, and we have to redefine how society values and compensates physical labor. When you connect the changes in trade, energy, and labor, the overriding theme is clear. We are entering an economy that rewards strict pragmatism over ideological rigidity. The variables are moving so fast that policymakers are now seriously debating whether robotic labor should pay into national social insurance simply to keep human safety nets solvent. Whether you are managing a corporate portfolio or deciding on your own career path, success requires observing these new rules with absolute clarity. Look at the changes we've mapped out today. Which of your own assumptions was challenged the most? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more.